Major conflicts around the world, be it on the European continent or other continent. We are now realizing that if we become selective and we choose double standard on the definition of war ethos, when it is happening on European continent, we will view it differently, particularly in terms of Russo-Ukrainian war, or if it is recently happening in Middle East, what is the entire globe is experiencing one of the medieval, or even probably there is no parallel in the medieval world of such barbaric and horrific acts which are being committed by the State of Israel against the unarmed citizenry of Palestine. Well, what to talk of unarmed citizenry? There are vulnerable people in hospital. They're injured. Injured are being killed. Children are being eliminated. It's not of condemning one part or the other part. It is about those prime human values. How do you respond to killing of children? I've been challenged by a few of my Western diplomats here that, well, Israeli children have been also killed. Well, I wonder to that query that, fine, I accept this, that the killing of any children is condemnable, be it of any faith or origin. So how many Palestinian children have to be killed to appease and address that Israeli anger? 1, 5, 10, 500, 1,000, 4,700? Can they give us a number so we can satisfy those parents that, wait, some 10,000 children needed to be killed so that Israeli anger is addressed? This is unacceptable, utterly unacceptable. And the kind of narrative which is being trying to be generated is even more surreal and bizarre. So who would be defining those value system in terms of geographical context? If the conflict is on the European continent, the entire war definition, the international law perspective would be altogether different. I was going through an article in The Economist where they legally tries to rationalize the Israeli intervention in the Gaza Strip by giving pure legal jargons. And this was even a bigger shame. It is not at all about legality, and the entire legal structure of the world or the lawgivers, starting from divine to the parliament, has been that you have to provide a sense of justice. And the justice has to be felt and seen. The justice has to be, at least should have some semblance of objectivity. Nobody can rationalize the killing of 4,700 children. I've been saying this all along, that in human history, I've heard the killing of children on the advent of Moses' birth. The pharaohs ordered that all the children among the Bani Israel has to be killed, as he was feared that a child is going to be born and then he will challenge the authority of Pharaoh. And then ironically, I see the killing of children by the same people who claim and adhere to the value of Moses and claim that they do believe in his prophethood. There has to be some soul searching. And there has to be some honest soul searching. When we've been asked or we've been suggested to condemn a group, well, the more or less reason that there should be a Palestinian state, they should be primarily responsible to take on any challenges if it is coming from a Palestinian population, if you do not have a viable state, non-state actors would be there on their own, and they will take on all those narrative, and they'll take and champion the cause of the people, and they would respond according to the best of their judgment, and which at times wouldn't be in the best interest of the region or the people living on either side. But if you do have a framework, which you have for the rest of the world, and that is nation state, why deny these people the same framework on which the global order is surviving? Coming back to our own region, we do have a lot of opportunity to have connectivity from the Central Asia to West Asia to the Caucasus, and from here even there are opportunities to rest of the South Asia. But one of the prime area which is of main impediment is the issue of Kashmir. Kashmir is an area which deserves, which needs, which requires some serious attention. And that attention has to be, again, according to the people of Kashmir, not according to Pakistan or according to India. There are some living human beings who have their own aspirations for the last 70 years, and there are in millions. And the Forum of United Nations has promised them through its resolutions that they would look into their aspirations, political aspirations, and would seek and ask them that what is their political destiny and future, and that would depend on a plebiscite in which they would be asked, rather than Pakistan imposing a solution or India imposing a solution. And how on earth all these democratic powers, someone big, someone mid-sized, someone small, but all claiming to be Democrat, deny this basic democratic exercise to the Kashmiri people? I mean, I'm astonished. How could we do that? Well, you can postpone this. You can postpone this. I would even refer it to the Middle East and Kashmir both, to a year, 2 decade, 4, 5, 10, 20, 3 centuries, 5 centuries, but it has to be addressed. The nations, they have patience. The nations with a sense of history, they can outlive any sort of colonization. And they know how to survive and outlive those colonization. It has been taught to all of us in the lessons of history. Otherwise, with distinct identity, these nations, these groups wouldn't have survived for generations. There are multiple examples where people have been colonized for even centuries. But eventually that colonization does receive its own part of challenge. And that challenge does get some sort of conclusion. We, on the other side, on the western border, I hope that the governance challenges in Afghanistan, the recent transformation gets settled, because it is pivotal for us as far as our connectivity with the Central Asia is concerned. And this is a wholesome region. And this region has historical connectivity socially, culturally, with one another. I was on a recent visit to Uzbekistan, and I discovered there are around 3,000 plus words of Uzbek language in Urdu. I do not see that kind of amalgamation with Sanskrit or with other probably South Indian languages. But there are languages of Central Asia, be it Turkmen, Tajik, Uzbeki, and others, which has deep impact on our language, on our culture, on our poetry, on our storytelling, the way people dance, the way they celebrate their folk music, so on and so forth. You do see that identification and commonality with these people. And then there is a huge economic potential in terms of energy, in terms of human services interacting with each other, and offering itself as a manufacturing hub to the outside world, to the Eastern Europe, to the Western Europe, to the rest of Asia. Does Pakistan want that India should be excluded from all this story? Not at all. Not at all. We do see the opportunity and benefit of having trade and connectivity on the eastern side as well. But for that, in order to realize, Pakistan does feel that every individual and nation has to interact in a dignified way. You can't beg to have trade with someone. Begging is not an option, and we definitely will not. Trade and economic activity has to be done through mutual benefit.